Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. As you guys are used to seeing Mobile Legends content, I'm actually going to be doing a League of Legends LTA North Split 1 tier list. Because, one of my other passions is League of Legends. I love video games in general. League of Legends, I've been following for quite a while now, especially the competitive scene. So I decided to make a tier list on the LTA North teams. I'm going to be explaining why I have the teams where they are, my expectations for the split. And I will tell you guys who I think will win the split at the end. So yeah, let's start off with D tier, which is DSG. I mean, I don't have much expectations on DSG. I just think that this team just they just don't have that much star power. They have a lot of players that are either washed or a lot of players that don't really stand out to me, like Abadage and Huhi. I think both of those players have fallen off. Huhi had a horrendous 2024, and Abadage, he was solid, but he's nothing like crazy. I don't think he's mechanically gifted. I think he's a decent team fighter. And then Castle, XQ, and Scary Jerry. I just think they're mid players, honestly. So yeah, I have them. If I had to say which team is the worst in the LTA, I would definitely choose them. Next up, we have Dignitas, and I actually think Dignitas has a really high ceiling if everything clicks. Like if all players, reach their peak or prime this year. I think this is a rookie team, lots of young talent, and I do think it can work out for them. But I do think the inexperience is going to kill them at first. They're not really gonna know how to like team fight, especially in the late game. They're gonna make a lot of bad choices, and that will come back to bite them in the ass. Especially since split one is very fast paced. If you lose a couple games, you're pretty much out. If you actually lose the first two best of fives, you're out. You have to wait till the next split, which is a month. So, it's very, very quick off the gate. So I'm very curious to see how Dignitas will start off the split. We'll find out in a couple days since the split starts in 2 days, I believe. So yeah. But yeah, I think Dignitas is a decent team if everything goes well. Then I have Lion Gaming. Now, at first, I thought Lion Gaming was the worst team in the LCS, but after doing some research, their mid laner Saint and their ADC Hena are actually insane. I've been watching a lot of their gameplay, and both of those players are really, really mechanically gifted, and their game sense is really, really high. So I have a lot of confidence because usually mid is the most important role in the game. I mean, it's like it's the role that can carry the hardest, right? And if you have the best or a really good ADC and a really good mid laner on a team on top of a really good Licorice, who I think Licorice can be really good. Like Licorice, we've seen when he really is at his best, he can compete with the very best. For those of you who don't know, he did solo kill 369 at Worlds. Like that's the thing about Licorice is that like this guy has insane high ceiling, but he has really low lows. So I don't know which licorice is going to come out. If this team clicks, they could do some serious damage. So yeah. Next up, we have the B tier teams. We have 100 Thieves and Shopify Rebellion. Now, I think both of these teams are around the same level. Um, yeah, I think these teams are above like the bottom ones, but they're not quite as good as the top tier teams. 100 Thieves, I think, they did improve FBI over Tomo, which I think is an upgrade, but FBI had a really bad last year, so I don't know how good he's gonna be. I hope he finds consistency. Licorice in Fearless Draft, I think is gonna be exposed a lot. I mean, his champion pool is just not appropriate for a pro player. He's pretty much only good at 3 to 4 heroes that I can recall. So I think in Fearless Draft, if it goes the distance against the team, I think top lane specifically is going to be really, really exposed for 100 Thieves. So they definitely need to work on that. But this squad is really, really solid. Uh, but I don't think like they have like an insane standout play. Like I guess Quid was the MVP, but I don't know, man. I have Ayla. I think Ayla is just one of the worst players in the league. This guy is an inter. He always chokes or somehow he always finds ways to make his team lose games from like unlosable ways. Like we saw it at Worlds, he was just constantly running it down. So this team has very high highs, but they have really low lows. So that's why they're in B tier. Next up, we have Shopify Rebellion, which is a team that I'm going to be supporting because I really like this team. I like everything about this team. I love the fact that, it got bought by two really famous streamers and personalities, Ludwig and Moist Critical. So the content is going to be fire. They got Fudge, they got Contracts, Palafox, Bevo, and Sayas. And I think every one of those players when they click are really, really good. Their bot side is really good because I know a lot of people have been telling me that that bot side is really, really good. B-Boy and Sayas, I think, are going to do fine. I think they're actually going to hold their own against the very best in the league. I think Palafox had one of the most atrocious years from a mid laner I've ever seen. I mean, he was just terrible. This guy was just literally running it down almost every single game. I can only recall two good games from Palafox over the course of a year, and if I can barely remember good gameplay from you in a span of a year, there's something seriously wrong. So I hope Palafox can bounce back. But it just seems that he's never really going to come back from those glory days of NRG. Like this guy was once considered like one of the best, if not the best player in the whole West when he was playing at Worlds. Like he was insane to just being one of the worst players in NA. So I definitely need to see where he's going to be at. Contracts, I give contracts the benefit of doubt because as a jungler, you can't really do much if your solo laners are just getting you fucking like losing you games basically. So yeah, Shopify Rebellion, I'm super excited. I think this team, if everything goes well, I think they could win the split. Like I can see a universe where they could win the split. Same thing with the 100 Thieves. The other teams at the bottom, I really, really don't see any world where they win the split. But I mean, anything's possible if everything goes well. I don't think there's like a completely dog shit team in the LCS besides maybe DSG, but yeah. Now we have A tier, which consists of Cloud9. I think Cloud9 they could either be one of the best teams or one of the worst teams. Like Cloud9 has really no like in between. They're either really good or they're a failed super team. I wouldn't even call Cloud9's new team a super team. I mean, Cloud9 did the usual move. They got import low key. They're sticking with Thanatos, which I don't rate Thanatos that highly. I think he was okay last year. Like I think he's good mechanically, but when it comes to like team fighting, he made a lot of errors. He was getting caught out a lot. He was going in on bad timers. His teleport usage was also really, really whack in a lot of moments. And yeah, his champion pool was also like not that good. So I also think alongside Sniper, his like then Cloud9 and Fearless might struggle once they like if they face like Team Liquid or FlyQuest. I definitely do favor those teams above Cloud9. But yeah, this Cloud9 team, it looks good. It looks great on paper. It's Cloud9. I mean, it's one of the winningest organizations in like North American League of Legends history. So I definitely do think they have a chance of winning it. But I'm not too highly on them. I think there's like a 25% chance that they won the split. So yeah, now we have the S tier, and yeah, as you can see, I have Team Liquid above FlyQuest because I actually think Team Liquid is better than FlyQuest. Um, if they play at their absolute peak. I think Team Liquid at Worlds just did not show up. I think that was not the Team Liquid that we're used to seeing. But I think with the time off and the new meta and all this other stuff, I do think Team Liquid will be the best team in the LTA, and I think that this split will show it. I love FlyQuest. I think they did amazing at Worlds, but a lot of people overrate FlyQuest's Worlds run. Like they think it was like an insane run, like NRG, where they beat like a European team. Like if you look at the teams that FlyQuest beat to get to the knockouts, it wasn't that impressive. Not only that, the one time they actually did face a really, really good team. The two times they faced a really, really good team, they lost both times to HLE and then to Gen G. And a lot of people will cope and say like, oh, but they took them to two games. But like a lot, if you understand, most people would agree that the reason why they took Genji to 5 games because Genji was not prepared with the drafts that FlyQuest were coming with. But every single time that Genji won, it was a stomp. Every time FlyQuest won, it would take them a bit longer for them to win. So yeah, and I also just think Team Liquid just has better worth ethic. I think they'll want it more this time around. I think Yon and Masu are around the same skill level. I think Core JJ is better than Lucio. I think APA domestically is better than Quad. I think Umpty, I think I'm not gonna lie, Inspired is way better than Umpty. I actually think if Team Liquid had Inspired, they would be like the best team in the West by far. But yeah, I think Inspired is actually carrying FlyQuest a lot because people don't understand how much Inspired does for that team. And then I think Bwipo and Impact are similar, but I would favor Impact. So yeah, I think Team Liquid is just a full package, and I think that they do more like if you look at everything that a League of Legends team needs to do, I think Team Liquid is better at more things than FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest is a better team fighting team by a bit, but I think Team Liquid has better like game sense. They have better macro. They have better early game. They have better vision setups. I think FlyQuest is a team that excels at team fighting, um, because they have really, really talented individuals like Masu, Quad, and Inspired. They have definitely the most mechanically gifted players in the league. So yeah, but that is my tier list. And as for who I think will win the split, I do think Team Liquid will win this time around. I think Team Liquid, they won't go back to back because they lost last summer, but I do think they'll win the first split. I have a lot of faith on FlyQuest and Team Liquid. Like either one of these teams could win. So yeah, that is my LTA tier list. The split starts on Saturday, I believe. So if you guys, you know, want to watch it, go ahead and do that. I'll definitely be doing like match reviews and like kind of like I'll be reacting to a lot of the things because I think this new year of of League of Legends for NA is going to be really really exciting. Most of the rosters are actually exciting. Even like the bottom tier teams, I have some interest in, so that's a good sign. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.